My fiance wants to take a week-long vacation with her ex. I refused.
Well, she can just be your ex too.
Yeah, that's exes all around.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this makes me an a-hole or what. I'm sure jealousy and insecurities are right up there, but right now my head is spinning. I feel nauseated and I feel trapped because no matter how I respond, I have a feeling this is going to blow up in my face. By the way, this comes from user GiveUp23. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my fiance was married before for 4 years, and they had a son together who is a special needs child. I love the little guy, but I also understand that I'm not the dad here, and he is very involved in his life. From my understanding of the divorce, my fiance is the cause of it, and this was against the ex's wishes. Because of their son, they are in constant contact with one another and share joint custody. I've learned to live with that. He and I certainly don't love one another, but it's as cordial as it can be when the two of us are ever in a room together. Long story short, she informs me this week that he has found a specialist to look at their son's condition, and he wants them to all go at his expense for a consultation. No big deal, right? And if that were the end of it, I would be fine. However, instead of an overnight or even a couple of day trip, he wants it to be a weeks-long vacation where they will take their son to the specialist, but then to an amusement park that's close by and a zoo and shopping and, well, anything else you would do on a vacation.
Okay, so added information, they have a child together. That does add a little context. It's
Special
not
needs
just
child, they have a kid, very
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
They're making a core memory for their kid.
Yeah, I don't think this is anything that I would necessarily, they're not, presumably they're not sharing a room.
But regardless,
Or,
if
you
she
know.
does this and then she comes back and she's like, I can't do this, guess what? It was never going to work anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll be sharing a room to save expenses. She's asking me if I would have a problem with any of this. I basically bit my lip and said that whatever was best for their son, I was all for it. I know she knew I was forcing that, so she said she wanted me to think for a couple of days about it, but that she did want to go.
I think the only thing that would be reasonable for OP to say here is like, hey, I don't really want you guys to share expenses. Share a room. And like, hey, I'll like help cover the cost if that's a worry here, but that's the only thing that I would be like, yeah, that's fair if he's uncomfortable with that.
Here's my problem. In my heart, I'm not okay with it. I would have no problem if they went for the consultation, and while I wouldn't be happy about it, I could even force myself to live with the one hotel room for one night. But a week's vacation, that is just too much for me. I know I should trust her, and I do, but I know this guy never wanted the divorce. She doesn't hate him, and as even said in the past, she feels bad for him because she's the one who changed and left their marriage. In a week's time, with their entire family unit together, crap can happen. If nothing else, I'm afraid it's going to confuse the son into thinking mom and dad are back together. Somebody help me out here. Am I just being an insecure jack booty, and should I just be okay with this? I know that's what I'm supposed to say and do, but I'm not going to lie. No matter what I say, I'm going to be miserable, and I hate that. I feel like if I say my true feelings, everyone's going to be pissed at me for being the jealous boyfriend. But if I give my blessing, I'll spend the entire week miserable, and honestly, the next few weeks probably being overly cautious and questioning whether or not anything happened.
I mean, like, just express those feelings. You can't tell her to not go, but you can say that, hey, I'm a little bit uncomfortable. If you do go on this trip, it would make me, feel a bit more at ease if you texted me updates, if you said what you guys were up to, if you chipped in a little bit more to not sleep in the same room. Like, there are ways that you can express these insecurities without being controlling.
If this is how you're really feeling, you need to be like, all right, go on this week-long trip with your ex-husband, right? Go on it. Stay in the same room. If you start feeling like that you're in love this guy and you want to get back with this guy, own that and let's break it off. I'm fully open to whatever honest truth you're experiencing, because I'm not going to marry you if you're still in love with your ex. What a great way to find out if that's the case, doing this for a week.
I don't know if you necessarily should say that prior, but yeah, but conceptually.
Well, that's where he's already at. He's like, I'm going to be miserable for a week and I'm going to question whether anything happened. It's like, dude, you fully don't trust your fiance. You're fully worried she would leave you for this guy. So
I think you just need to express some of those. I think you can express your insecurities in a healthy way that does not come off as a controlling or accusing her of anything.
I don't want this guy sleeping in the same room as my fiance because he did it for years when they were married and dating. Trusting someone's a lot harder to do in real life than it is in theory.
Of course it is, but that's like part of a relationship.
And we have some comments here. Number one, you're going to be this kid's stepfather for the rest of his life. Every time he interacts with his mother, he's going to be interacting with you. All this to say, if this is a family vacation, then guess what? You're part of the family, and you should go too. The four of you will have a great, if slightly awkward at moments, time. And she really shouldn't object. If you were just the boyfriend, that would be different, and you going might be a little weird, but if you're engaged to be married and are actually serious about it, that weirdness needs to be outside your marriage, not inside it. It's you and her son, and then it's everyone else.
The only thing that I would say for that one, because he's special needs, there might be a little bit more complexity in that. Hopefully he's comfortable with OP, but we don't know what that situation is. Yeah. So not we really don't know. Maybe he is comfortable and it would be fine, but I think it's something you could ask.
If she refuses and is valuing her ex's feelings over yours, you need to stop and consider how you will feel if that continues for the next 20 years. Comment number 2 says, tell her what you told us. She even asked you how you felt about it, and then you lied. Your opinion counts. Tell her how you feel. OP says, I don't feel like I lied as much as I forced out an answer that I thought I was supposed to say, which is just called lying, dummy.
Which was contrary to what you were feeling.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I lied so much as said something I wasn't
true.
Believing. I know it's semantics, but that's where my head is anyway. She's looking for my approval. I can just tell by the way she's asking and what she's said. I think if I make it clear I'm not happy, she won't go. But then I fear long-term resentment on her end. And here's an update. Folks, I'm sticking 100% to my theory here, dude. I'm saying if I was engaged, if I'm getting married to somebody, right? If I'm already like, all right, let's do this. I'm not worried about your exes. You serious? I'm going to marry you.
It's like if you wanted, I don't know.
I'm already not worried.
Cheat, they're going to cheat. Someone wants to be with their ex, they're going to be with their ex.
If your position is like, oh, I'm worried that something could get rekindled from this trip, then you really actually have to do the horrifying, scary thing and going, hey, go on that trip.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you how to be.
Yeah.
I think you can tell her where you're at. You can be like, I'm worried it might.
Yes,
but you know what? If it does, I'm not going to hate you about it. I'm not going to let's be real.
Yeah.
Tell me what happens. If it happens, thank God, right?
Yeah.
It's good it happens now instead of later. Let's get into this update, folks. We still got plenty of story left. She came to me today and asked me again about going, and I took everyone's advice, gathered up my courage, and in a calm and relaxed manner, decided to share my feelings with her. She calmly agreed with me that it was very unusual and really felt like nothing bad was going to occur, but since she loved me and respected my opinion, she was only going to go for the consultation and then return.
And there you go. You communicated. You told her your insecurities without accusing her of anything. And it worked out. Yay.
Ooh, yeah, that's the way I wish it would have.
No, what?
Come on! For F's sake, this blew up bigger than a goddamn atom bomb with all the effing drama reserved for reality TV. She asks me, and I sit down and start to give her my thoughts on the subject. Now, mind you, right out of the gate, I said that I trusted her and did not believe anything would happen. But immediately, I could see her tense up for a fight, and I didn't even get to finish my well-crafted speech before she called me an immature child, a control freak, and an a-hole. Not necessarily in that order.
I don't trust her anymore.
Yeah, this is making me a little suspicious now.
I don't trust her anymore. That's a pretty suspicious reaction.
We can only venture how these things were said. Anyways, she rotated between telling me she was just going to cancel the entire thing to telling me to kiss her butt. She would do as she pleased. I mean, she went on for what must have been a half hour, but it seemed like 3 days. The fact that I said I trusted her seemed to make it worse, because if I trusted her, then this shouldn't even have been an issue. I asked about going, and she said it wasn't either of our places to decide that because her ex was paying for everything, which I then brought up how uncomfortable I was with that. Of course, she threw her special needs son in my face, which I kept explaining over and over how I wanted them to get the consultation, and I wanted her to be there for that. But I just wasn't cool with the entire vacation plan. She did not understand why. And since I couldn't articulate anything other than it made me feel disrespected and uneasy, she decided that I was insecure and controlling. She kept asking me if I thought she was going to have spicy sleep with him with their child right there in the room with them. I said, of course not. But it wasn't just the spicy tango that was bothering me. I admitted that jealousy had reared its ugly head, but I asked her how she would feel if I went on a week-long vacation with my secretary from work.
Well, yeah, that's different. That's not a one-to-one.
Yeah, well, you might have just made it worse, buddy.
Yeah.
That was even worse
Shocking.
because now she started accusing me of wanting to have spicy sleep with my secretary.
Yeah, you played yourself there, buddy.
I just basically said to do what you want to do. I'm sorry I feel this way. I probably shouldn't have said anything, but I felt by staying silent, I would have ended up hating myself. She said her son comes first, which I immediately said is fine, and that while she has no feelings for her ex romantically, she does care about him as a person and as the father of her son, so she wasn't going to disrespect him by bringing up this nonsense to him. Hey, huge red flag. What are we talking about? Her acting like this is like the most ridiculous thing is
This
now
feels like major projection.
you're so suspicious.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I really don't trust you now.
Ay, ay, ay. She said my entire thought pattern was an insult to her, and she does not know where this leaves us. I basically said that I was done talking with her for the day because after that, I might say things that I couldn't take back and needed time to think, so I left. About an hour later, I got this text. Quote, I can't believe you are throwing us away over something so stupid. I replied back with, I didn't know I threw away anything. And she did not reply. I'm not sure where we stand.
That sounded like she's breaking up with you.
Dude, I'd break up with her anyway.
Yeah,
This
I'd be
is
like, whoa.
This is an answer to the question in and of itself.
It at the very least shows you that even if she hasn't betrayed you or cheated or anything, she's still proving that you guys are not ready to get married if this is how she handles any sort of like pushback against her plans or her actions, and she just gets mad at you and yells at you and gets defensive. Like, that's not the way that you want to start your marriage.
Correct. Well, you've now got a much bigger problem than just the vacation. Your fiancé is a terrible communicator who uses multiple manipulation tactics, like straw man arguments, belittling you personally, name-calling, dominating the conversation, passive-aggressive texts that imply you're the reason the marriage is off when she's the one threatening to end it. And she won't consider or even listen to your feelings. That is not someone who can have a successful marriage. Seriously, there's no way someone who is that bad at communicating and that unwilling to respect her partner's feelings can be a good wife or husband if the genders were reversed. Do not move forward on this marriage until you've seen a relationship counselor for multiple sessions and you've seen concrete proof that her ability to deal with conflict has changed. Marriage is full of compromise and disagreements, and right now she can't handle either without resorting to blame throwing, name calling, and threats. Anyway, there is another update. Let's get into it. So after I sent my text to her, she never replied. I decided that no answer was my answer and just accepted that she was going to do whatever she wanted, and I would take that long weekend to decide whether or not I could live like this. It took me all of 20 minutes of self-talking. Yeah, apparently I'm crazy because I talk to myself. I just decided that the last text would just serve as the last text. Didn't work out that way, though.
Ow.
Sure enough, last night, she texted me again and said, quote, well, are you going to come over and talk about this? I just replied back with, there's really nothing to talk about. You've made your decision clear, and it's your choice. She replies with, so you're okay with this? I was stunned. She honestly thought that me saying this was me approving of this. I was stunned. She honestly thought that me saying this was me approving of this. I'll paraphrase what I wrote to her because it was quite lengthy, but in essence, I told her that no, I was not okay with this. However, since we were now no longer together, she's free to do what she wanted to do. She does not reply. However, 10 minutes later, there's a knocking on my door with her son in tow. At first, I didn't think I'd answer the door, but I could tell she was getting more and more frantic knocking, so I was afraid she was going to cause a scene with my neighbors, so I opened the door. She's almost hyperventilating when she starts talking to me and begins bawling like a baby. Girl, do you not remember breaking up with me?
And also, you brought your son to like have a meltdown. I understand why you couldn't leave your son at home, but like you're gonna have a meltdown in front of your son.
This is, again, just like from the very beginning, this is just all the proof you needed where it's like, dang, I'm so glad we did not get married because clearly we were not ready.
Yep. Absolutely.
I take her son and go put on the Cartoon Network in the other room and let him watch cartoons while I try to get her to calm down. She starts begging and pleading and being the exact opposite of what she was the other night. I just simply tell her that she has emotional issues that she needs to get help with and that I couldn't help her. We talked for a long time, and I wasn't really what you would say mean to her, but I wasn't backing down either. And I simply told her that her response to me was unacceptable. That even if I ever agreed to her going on a trip like this, her actions during that argument degraded me as a person and made it very clear to me that my opinions were of little to no importance to her. I kind of stopped because physically she looked beat down. That is a figure of speech, by the way. I never once touched her, nor would I. We went to check on her son, and he had fallen asleep. So she came back, laid on the couch for a few minutes. And the next thing I know, she's up on me trying to initiate spicy sleep.
Yikes. Yikes.
Just like, girl, go get your own issues checked out, man.
You started this, man. You started this.
I'm going back. I want to get her exact quote here. She said her son comes first. When I said, that's fine. And then she's like, I'm not even going to bring this up because that would be disrespectful to my ex. She said, my entire thought pattern was an insult and she does not know where this leaves us. So she was actually the one who said, you're breaking up with me right now.
Yes, exactly. And he said, what?
And he goes, I am?
And then she didn't reply.
Never responded. So she was the one who was like, and now this is what has happened. We have broken up. I tell her that the initiation of spicy sleep isn't going to change things. And I still feel that we are best separated. I probably should not have done it, but to answer some questions from the other post, yes, she is hot as the lake of fire. So they do the horizontal mambo. After the horizontal mambo is completed, I still tell her I don't think this should change things. She begs me to give her another chance and that today she's going to call her ex and tell him what's going to happen. They leave. About 2 hours ago, I get a call from the ex. He said that she told him to call me and tell me what's going on. She now is only going for the one night to stay for the consultation, and they have their own rooms. So I told him that I was sorry she dragged him into our mess. He said it's no big deal to him, which I didn't believe for a second. Then she calls me to make sure he called. She's all filled with love and joy and apologies, and right now I'm confused because I think she may be bipolar or whatever the heck else it is when you change personality so quick. I told her to come over later, and I'm going to make part of my stipulations for staying together to be that she starts going to counseling. Not really sure where I go from here. I don't know if me putting my foot down caused her to flip or if she's just legitimately crazy. We will see where this goes. And there's an edit. I think it's important to point this out to everyone because honestly, I've portrayed her as a one-dimensional nut job. Honestly, she's not. This is our first real true fight. We've had disagreements before, but never has she flipped out like this. I'm sorry. You're engaged to someone you never had a real fight with?
Some people never have real fights with their partners.
I feel like that's
Either
like a
because-
prerequisite to getting engaged.
I think some people are really, really good at like conversations, or some people are really bad at conversations, and so they never actually bring up.
Well, see, that's
anything
what I'm
about
talking about.
Yeah.
It's like if you're actually going to be married to somebody, like you can't be in a position where you're like, well, I don't want to say that because it might
Which I
upset
think
them.
that's
You need
this
to
side.
already be ready to like, all right, I'm not getting married to you unless we can like drag it out and like have a fight and like get over it. That's where it's at. So she has been kind, sweet, and caring throughout our relationship. Her child, who I am growing to love, has never been an issue, and I didn't even meet him for the first couple of months until she knew we were going to be something long term. I would never have been this involved or committed had she shown these traits before. And there are comments. Number one, she's not bipolar. You just stood your ground and she made the decision that going on a free vacation was not worth losing you. Comment two, this might be workable. First off, she's not bipolar. She quit trying to walk all over you because you just showed her she can't. That's why she quit treating you like crap. So keep that same mindset you had in your 20-minute introspection and act like it. She'll see that she can't be crappy to you if she wants to stay with you, and she won't act like this anymore. She doesn't need counseling just for you to be the guy who is willing to leave her when she treats you poorly. And there's a third update here. What I would say...
What would you say?
Because getting the counseling or not, it's like it sets up an ultimatum, right?
Yeah.
I think you'd say, like, I think maybe judging how you reacted to that conversation, you might want therapy, but also I would stay separated longer. I wouldn't just take her back.
I think absolutely, at the very least, postpone the wedding. Like, don't have a wedding anytime soon. Y'all aren't, like, it doesn't mean you have to break up, but y'all are not ready for a wedding.
You can't be sure if this is from that survival mode of like, oh, I messed up. Now I've got to salvage the relationship and make all these short-term changes and short-term behaviors, or if it's like something that's really viable long-term.
You have to make sure this isn't how she reacts every time you disagree with her.
Just because y'all haven't been disagreeing. Update 3. Well, as I somewhat expected, she calls me up, bawling about money already being deposited and that she really wants me to reconsider this and that her son was already looking forward to going on the trip. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. She kept swearing up and down that she had no feelings for her ex and that she's committed to our relationship, but wants to be able to give her son this trip. I let her talk and gave her complete silence. So finally, after a few minutes of spiel, she ends and there is just empty, open air. Finally, she asks if I'm still there, and I say I am. She wanted to know what I thought now. I said in a very calm manner, if I wasn't comfortable with this before, nothing has changed to make me comfortable with this now. You said you would stay that one night and return. She then butts in and says that her ex didn't think that he could handle her son alone the rest of the week at the park and other attractions. I said that he was the father and he should be able to handle the kid. However, at the end of the day, it didn't matter to me as I made myself perfectly clear that I was not okay with this, nor was I ever going to be okay with this. She starts to lose it again and tells me I'm being selfish, which honestly I kind of agree with in this situation. I don't think it's fair to be like, you can't go on a vacation with the, like, whatever you want to call it, the nuclear family or the biological family of your son.
No, I see, like, I don't agree with OP's decision here, but also I think that he's wrong in the sense that he said nothing has changed, because I think a lot has changed. I think that now she's given him a reason to not trust her. Before she probably could have been like, no, you know what? I'm going to, like, we're not going to stay in the same room. We're going to go on this vacation because I have to be there with my kid. If she had approached it in a reasonable way, they might have been able to reach some sort of consensus, some sort of compromise. Now she's blown everything out of proportion. And now he's like, well, I'm definitely not trusting you now.
But again, dude, it's like, let it be weird. And if it's like she goes on that vacation, she's like, I'm actually going to marry my ex and we're going to raise our son together. It's like, all right.
Yeah. The
thing Thank
is,
God. Hey, look, we don't even have to get a divorce lawyer because we're not married yet.
I mean, it's no longer about the vacation for them. It's about the fact that she reacted really, really poorly and broke his trust.
She starts losing it and tells me I'm being selfish. I told her I was hanging up and would contact her later, as at that point in time, I was upset and needed to think. I do love her, and I unfortunately was becoming attached to her son. She had been, up until this point, a reasonable, decent human being, but I just felt that I was at the end of my rope here. I don't believe in texting or doing crap over the phone, so I knew the ex had her son, so I went to her house and just told her point blank, this is a deal breaker for me, and that she needed to think hard and fast if this was going to cause her to have resentment for me going forward, because that would not be healthy or fair to her. She said that it would, and I said that I was sorry that things ended this way, but at this point in time, I could no longer envision either of us happy with a life together going forward from this. She cried a little, but not hysterical, just kind of a sad crying. Truth be told, I did a little too as soon as I left because I was certain that this was going to work out. We agreed to split the cost of refunding what we have put into the wedding and cancellations that might not give us our deposits back. And by the way, you can always get your deposit back when you listen to full episodes with stories just like this.
What deposit?
The deposit of your time, your attention, your energy. Because guess what? You get that deposit back and you get to put it right towards another full episode with more stories on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime.
Do it.
But there's a little bit more story here. I think, honestly, do you have any parting words? We've talked it out pretty well to my understanding.
I mean, I think it's just like, if y'all don't go to therapy, I don't know.
I think it's just time to cut your losses. There is a part of me, though, that is annoyed at myself, saying I'm being dumb and throwing away a great girl just because she's going to stay in the same room as an ex. However, while I don't feel great about it, I do at least feel that I walked away with some dignity. Not 100% sure that this was the right thing, but I know for a fact that either one of us would have been resentful of the other after this. I know it's crazy, but in a way, I hope she gets back together with her ex. He's great to his kid, and she is the one who cheated on him years ago, so maybe the guy can turn her around.
Wait, she cheated on?
There are some comments here. Let's finish it off. Oh man, she had a history of cheating already? Just think about how badly she wanted to spend the week with her ex. She was not thinking about her kid. She wanted to get a free trip and would have slept with her ex. Again, it's just all assumptions. And it's like, there's like one more comment and it's just like, again, being like she wanted to build a life with her ex, which we don't know.
We don't know that.
If you're really thinking like, dang, she wants to get with her ex, doesn't she? Just be like, hey, I think you might want to get with your ex.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Your trust is already broken.
I don't want you to not go. I think you should go. And if you are still in love with your ex and you realize it, let's just move forward with that knowledge.